What is your name?
John Robert Stewart Beadell,
Where were you born, John?
Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada.
And when were you born?
June 1st, 1941.
And you lived in British Columbia till when?
1977.
So you stayed in Canada for until 1977, you said?
Mm-hmm.
In the same place?
Pardon me?
You stayed in the same place of Canada?
Uh, Basically in Vancouver.
Okay. Did you ever move houses at all?
Oh, many times.
You stayed within Vancouver though, right?
Right.
Okay. What was your earliest childhood memory?
Earliest childhood memory. Something that stuck in my mind all my life, and it was just at the end of World War II. The aircraft carrier came into Vancouver Harbor, bringing back prisoners of war from the Japanese campaign. And I can remember this huge ship and all the men standing on the deck. And I never lost that memory.
So, when was that again?
That would have been in 1945,
Okay, so
46.
you were pretty young then, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I was very young.
Okay.
But that's the first thing I can remember.
Okay.
As a boy.
So, do you have any siblings in your family? Any brothers or sisters?
I had a brother and a sister, but they both died.
Okay.
I'm the only one left.
What did you guys, when did they pass away?
When did they pass away?
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. My brother was in 1964, I believe it was, and my sister was in 2009.
Okay, so what did you do for fun as children in your young age?
Well, things were a lot simpler in those days, and we just basically played amongst, with each other and a few people in the neighborhood. And there wasn't much traveling around.
Was that a game?
Pardon me?
Wait, what did you say? Was that a sort of game that you played?
Baseball,
Okay.
football, or soccer.
Okay, so sports.
Mm-hmm.
All right. First go to school. What age?
Grade 6. We didn't have kindergarten. We just went into grade 1 and from there through to 12.
Okay. Were you a troublemaker in class, or did you like school?
I put it this way, that I was sent down to the principal's office a few times for discipline. I guess I was I could be a little bit of a troublemaker, I guess.
Did you enjoy going to school?
Basically, yes. Yeah.
So, were school years shorter for you than they are here now? So, you finished schooling at 12, right?
No, 18.
Oh, 18, I thought you said age 12.
Yeah.
You went to grade 12, okay.
Yeah, 18.
So it's the same here.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what was your favorite subject in school?
Well, we call it industrial arts. It was electrical, metalwork, drafting, and woodwork.
Okay. And at school, were there subjects like there are now, just basic math and English, or were they more?
The basic subjects that we had was English literature, English language, mathematics, history, geography, and history and geography were combined. Physical education, of course, and industrial arts, which I met woodworking.
What was the
and
craziest thing you did as a kid? The most exciting thing?
in the trade?
When you were a kid?
Oh, That's kind of hard to say. Exciting thing. I can't think of anything that was really outstanding when I was a small kid. Everything was uh, pretty normal. We did a lot of. Some of the fishing trips were quite exciting with, catching fish. But,
Where'd you go fishing?
oh, some of the lakes around Vancouver and out in the saltwater, deep water fishing. And
What kind of fish did you go for on this trip?
mostly salmon and trout.
Okay. Who did you go with?
Knows my dad or some of his hunting and fishing friends.
Did you have any grandparents while you were growing up?
Did I what?
Have any grandparents while you were growing up?
Yes, I had my mom's mother and father were still alive when I was younger, and my other grandparents had died when my father was quite young.
Did did you ever do anything with them, like trips at all?
No, they were quite a bit older and they didn't really travel that much.
Okay. Did you guys travel a lot when you were young? Did you go on?
We usually went on a car trip every summer, the family.
Where did you go to?
No, down into, well, I say it now, down into the States. A few times we drove down to Los Angeles, which is quite a ways from Vancouver. And mostly in the States, in Washington and Oregon, California.
What was the most memorable trip you ever took with your family?
The most memorable trips that I can think of are in my later years, but when I was younger, I think flying down to Los Angeles, that was a big thing. I was really excited about that.
What did you do down there?
Went down to see an uncle in Los Angeles.
All right. What did you want to be, or who did you look up to?
What did I want to be?
Yeah, what did you want to be?
I wanted to be rich. That didn't happen either. No, that's. I wanted to be, be happy, comfortable with, that we weren't scraping every cent that you have, but it all worked out.
When did you have your first job?
Well, I worked all my vacations from when I was 11 years old. Summer, Christmas, and all that. I always had to work, and so basically, I've been working for a long time.
What was your job when you were 11?
I was a carpenter's helper.
Okay, so. How long did you go to school?
12 years. I graduated from high school.
Okay. So was the school track similar to how it is now? When you have the summer break, winter break, and stuff like that?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Very similar to what you have.
All right. What school activities did you participate in, like sports or clubs or anything?
Actually, I didn't really get into sports until high school, and basically boxing.
Okay. Did you do any like club activities within the school?
No.
Okay. Did you go to a public school?
Yes. All public schools.
So you graduated when you were 12 from high school. Did you go on to college at all?
No, I went into a pre-apprenticeship program that was put on by the provincial government, and it set you up to a point where you're all primed and basically trained for apprenticeship in various heavy-duty mechanic, boat building, various other trades.
And did any of your first careers as a young adult have to do with your apprenticeships? Like, did you learn any skills that you used in your future careers?
Yeah, I've used my skills that I learned at pre-apprenticeship all through my life, working life.
When did you get married?
June of 1968,
And
Vancouver, British Columbia.
and how did you meet Nan, your wife?
Actually, I had come out of the Arctic for the winter, and I usually worked down south until the ice melted in the Mackenzie River, and then moved back up to the Arctic. And I went to work for the same outfit that my wife was working for, and never did go back to the Arctic.
So, what did you do up in the Arctic? What did your job entail when you were
In the
in
Arctic?
the Arctic? Yeah.
I was an engineer on one of the tugboats in the Mackenzie River.
Oh, okay. So, what did Nan do?
Pardon me?
What did Nan do when you met her? What was her job?
What did she do?
Yeah, what was she? What was her
Oh,
occupation?
she was the, well, office manager, you might say.
Okay. How long have you been married?
46 years.
Did you have any children?
Yes, I have 2 boys.
Okay. And how old are they?
Oh, now you're putting me on the spot. 45 and 42.
And their names are?
Pardon me?
What are their names?
Lee is my oldest son, and Shane is my younger son.
Okay. After you finished your apprenticeship, what were some hobbies of yours?
Well, one of my enjoyable things for the sport was skydiving. And this was back, of course, when skydiving was just becoming popular, and we had to use old military chutes that were modified. They were just starting to get in custom-made parachute equipment, which is old as the hills now, but it was great stuff. We finally got rid of the old military surplus and got something new and designed for sports jumping. But there wasn't many rules back in those days, so there was accidents that happened, but not very frequently.
Where did you skydive? Like, what locations?
What locations?
Yeah, where did you skydive?
Mostly in the Vancouver area in Canada, and also down in Missoula, Montana. We went for competitions down there, in Issaquah, Washington. We spent a lot of time down there, in Snohomish, Washington as well.
Were there any other hobbies you had at that age?
Boat building. I built, over the years, 3 different ski boats. And mainly I wanted to water ski, and nobody had a boat. So I built some boats and ended up dragging the people around. I didn't get that much water skiing anyhow.
Did you do any other sports other than water skiing? Like snow skiing or?
Skiing, snow skiing, I did a bit of that, and cross-country skiing. But skydiving, of course, that was the main thing, and water skiing.
Okay. What about when you were a kid? Were there any other sports than boxing that you did?
I wasn't really that much interested in many sports in the younger years. And when I got into high school, about the only thing that really interested me was boxing.
And then when you were older, like after you were done skydiving, when you were more into your career, what were some things you like to do?
Things I like to do?
Yeah.
Oh, well, we're by then into raising boys, so that kept my hands full.
Well, what about as a parent? What did you do with your family? Trips?
Yeah, we did. We'd take them away every year somewhere. Uh, at that time, their grandparents that were still alive lived down in Reno, so we always came down here for at least a couple of weeks in the summer, and then we started taking them on cruises when they were getting into their mid-teens, and till they started going off on their own, and then we kept traveling, but the boys were doing their own thing.
What age were they when you moved to the United States?
When they came to the United States,
Yeah, how old were they?
about 10 and 8, I think, roughly.
And did you move straight to Reno, or did you come to Reno first, or
Yes,
anywhere else?
we came to Reno as a place to get settled and find out where we wanted to go, and we've been here ever since.
Were your sons involved in any sports at all?
They were in soccer and various other football and things like that at high school or during the school. They've gone on. My oldest son, he's into a lot of bike riding and marathons and stuff like of that nature. And my other son is into wakeboarding and more in that type of sport.
What was the funniest thing that happened while you were raising them when they were kids?
Oh boy, there were so many things that were amusing that I can't really pinpoint something specific that. But every time he turned around, there was something going on. As I know, my grandsons are just about the same.
Did they get into lots of trouble when they were young?
Trouble?
Yeah, did they get into trouble?
Oh, a few things. Like, covering the neighbor's tree in toilet paper and things like that. Nothing serious, but
When did you first start driving?
driving?
Yeah. Or what was it like? What was your first form of transportation that you took?
Well, I started driving on the work sites when we were building, say, about 20 or 30 houses along a street that was blocked off. So I was driving when I was 13.
What was your first car?
First car was a 1946 Chevrolet Coupe.
And how long did you have that car?
I was about 17 when I got that.
Okay, and so you'd been driving since you were 13, you said?
Well, yeah, not on the street. Well,
Yeah.
well, not legally on the street, but I used to drive with my dad.
And when did you officially get licensed?
No, it was when I was, pardon, 1950, 57, 58. I think it was 58.
Okay.
So I was over 16 when I.
After you got out of your pre-apprenticeship, what kind of careers did you take part in? What did you work for? Who did you work for?
I really switched from the carpentry trade and everything, of course, going into the heavy duty equipment. But I ended up working in the shipyards as engine fitter and pipe fitter. And that was a really interesting start in my career, because it was right at the time when large wooden fishing trawlers and that were still being built on the coast, but they were getting rapidly faded out to all steel boats, fiberglass, of course. So I had an interesting education on the skills of building heavy, large fishing trawlers out of, huge timbers, much the same as they did 400 or 500 years ago.
And did you have any other occupations after that?
Well, I stayed with the marine trade until, of course, when I got married. Then I ended up settling down, not traveling all over the place on tugs, and got into the mining equipment and construction, heavy equipment. And basically I remained in that mining and construction equipment till I retired.
Going back a little bit, where did you travel on tugboats?
I was on the BC coast. I was mostly on a small coastal freighter, and then I spent time up in the northern Canada in the Mackenzie River. We went from northern Alberta through the Northwest Territories down to the Arctic Ocean. And it was very interesting. It was a complete different lifestyle, because when we went in early in the spring to refit the tugs and get them ready to put in the water when the ice broke, it was pretty well dark all day. And of course, in the midsummer, you didn't know what time of day it was, because it was day all 24 hours. But the easiest way to if you came out of your back on duty, was smell what the cook was cooking. If it was breakfast, you knew it was in the morning. And if it was dinner, well, you knew it was in the evening. But otherwise, you working 24 hours or 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop for months. You got confused what time it was and what day it was. So it was different.
What would you say was one of the most interesting experiences you had while working for that company?
Oh, when we cut basically the bottom of and back end, the bottom and back of a tug completely out and replaced the whole thing. It was about 75 feet wide, and we replaced about 20 feet of it. It was a very interesting and exciting job.
All right. Where were some places that you traveled with your family? How many places have you been to?
How many places?
Yeah, like on cruises or
Uh,
trips.
Goodness gracious. We've traveled quite a bit in the Caribbean, from Jamaica, the Cayman Islands, the Windward, or the Leeward and Windward Islands, down to Barbados, Dutch Antilles, Venezuela, Mexico, and of course over to Hawaii, and we've been to the Kiribati islands in the Central Pacific, um, Polynesian islands, and made a crossing from Malaga in Spain to Barbados on a sailing ship that followed the path of Columbus. And it was all by sail.
What was your favorite place that you went to out of all those? Your favorite place?
Favorite place that we've gone to?
Yeah.
One of the places that I find that we went to the most would probably be the British Virgin Islands. They're so still so quiet, not really commercialized, and the people are very nice, very honest, and very proud of being descendants of slaves.
Okay. What's the greatest accomplishment you've had in your life?
The greatest part
Accomplishment?
that I've done?
Yeah.
Raised two boys. Oh, there's a number of things, but really putting it all together, the greatest accomplishment is helping my wife raise two boys, and I think if everybody had raised boys like we have, they'd really feel like they'd achieved something.
Is there anything that you wish you would have done or could have done? Like, any regrets?
Well, there's a few things that I regret, and I don't really want to go back and think about. But nobody can go through life without, well, hurting people's feelings or doing something that's created problems. It'd be very difficult to go through life without having that happen in some degree.
Advice you could give to like me or any of your grandchildren growing up?
Well, I think the best advice that I can give you is a good education is the backbone, will be the backbone of your whole life. If you neglect your education and don't work at it at your younger years, you'll never catch up. And it'll be with you the rest of your life. If you can just put a lot of the frills and fun things to do out of your mind and get the basics, reading, writing, arithmetic, you can't go wrong.
And how do you want to be remembered?
How am I?
How do you want to be remembered?
I'm not sure.
Like, how would you want us to remember you? In what way?
Oh, remember me?
Yeah.
Oh, happily, I would think, but no, I think the family has strived together to be a family, and I just like to be remembered as a part of the family.
Okay. Thank you.